Hey everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are talking tonight about end of year stuff. So we started this conversation last week and we are going to continue tonight. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Shannon Keebler. I'm the moderator of our Facebook group on Math Expressions user group on Facebook. And then those of you who are joining us on our website, welcome there at Empower, Learn, Grow. And we again are talking end of the year stuff and specifically through the lens of what can we do at the end of the year, math, to get ready for next year, to wrap up, to use, materials wisely, etc. Specifically because you use math expressions as your resource. Okay, so we're going to talk through some of those materials. I have some fun things to share with you. So let's get that up and going. If you're here, say hello. How many days of school do you have left? I'd love to know that. We graduated my senior this last weekend, so super excited. And my son will be done this week. So it feels like things are starting to wind down for some of us. I know some of you are like, nope, we've got like another 6 weeks of school. So hang on if that is you. Alrighty, here we go. So we're going to plan smarter now for later. Okay, this is how we're going to prep right now for some things. So here's some things we're going to do. We're going to talk about what you can do right now for a new smooth school year. Some easy tasks that we can do to make a difference, specifically like what can we do right now, but also some summer things that you might just make sure that you bring with you as you leave and exit the classroom. Before you throw out your supplies, what are some things that we can save and organize? And then of course, some goals that we might be able to focus on. Now, for many of you, if you are like me, you're already burned out. You are barely holding on. So this conversation might feel like, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow, much less thinking about next year. These are like easy wins. Okay, these are things that you have to clean up your classroom anyway. You have to start to get ready for next year on some level, and you don't want to throw out things or not have certain things prepped or with you as you leave for summer break. So I think that you'll really be able to hold on to these without feeling like it's another thing for you to do. Okay, so hold on for me as we start here with the first few things. So here's the few things to do now for a smooth start. One is you want to make sure that you are cleaning your posters and your whiteboards. So remember that your posters are not consumable. You do not get new ones in math expressions. Right? So that means that your 120 poster, if you're in kindergarten, first and second grade, you don't get another one. Now, you can technically order more poster sets, but they don't come cheap and you have to order them by ISBN number. And I'm not totally sure how they're running that now that they're in Heinemann, but generally you would have to order a teacher modeling kit is the name of the kit you have to order. So they don't even let you order like just the single poster. Like you have to order the whole teacher modeling kit and get all the posters over again. Okay, so you want to make sure you are taking care of your posters prior to next school year. And the death of all posters is leaving whiteboard marker on them. So you want to make sure you get these as clean as possible. Use your white eraser, your magic eraser, use whatever you have to do to get that stuff off. Because for those of you who are in kindergarten, first and second grade, you probably use your 120 poster very frequently. At least I know kindergarten uses it literally every day as they count on it. First grade, you kind of stopped using it for a while. So it may be stored, like you put it away somewhere or it's still up on a bulletin board, but it has marker all over it because you moved to a new unit and you just kind of stopped doing that particular routine. So we want to make sure that those are cleaned up as possible, which of course includes your whiteboards. We did talk previously about getting those whiteboards as clean and as mended as possible, because you can keep this year's whiteboards. You'll get a new set of whiteboards next year when you order your workbooks. So that way you can send home this year's workbooks the beginning of next year, not workbooks, whiteboards, this year's whiteboards at the beginning of next year with those students. So they have a whiteboard at home, and then they'll get their new whiteboard for class, and then you'll keep that cycle going. But either way, you and I both know you don't want to leave those things not cleaned up and mended. No one wants an old ratty one for next year. So whatever you can do to start that mending process now, I would suggest that you do that. So as far as posters go, remember that this is your 120 poster. It's your multiplication chart. For fourth and fifth and sixth grade, it's probably your place value chart. Now, for some of you, you might be thinking, I don't even know about those posters, nor do I know where they're at. Okay, so this would go on that to-do list as you're thinking about what you want to take care of for next year. Okay, so Two things. One is just comment material list and we will send it and tell us your grade. And we will send you your specific material list with visuals. So I do like a little video for each one of the materials and I kind of talk about what it is, where you find it. If you've lost it or maybe you adopted a classroom and you're like, I don't even know that I have this. Okay, I'm gonna just tell you what to look for, but also where to get it if you never had it. So we'll send you over that list. So again, just comment material list if that's something you're interested in and tell us your grade level because we'll give you a picture of all the different posters. That's something to think about in general as you're prepping your room is what materials did I not have during the unit this year because I just didn't have the bandwidth to figure it out. Okay, I couldn't, it said we were supposed to use a particular manipulative. I don't know where that was at. It said I was supposed to reference that poster. No idea. Okay, that's one of those things where you may want to take home your teacher's edition and just go unit by unit. Specifically, you can just go to the front of every unit. It has kind of an outline, a planner where it tells you what materials. It also is in the math background. The math background gives you some images of it. And just go by unit and decide like where are those or where can I find them. Then you can use our document, our materials list to get the links and everything if you need to download more and just know how to store them. So things like the posters you want to clean up because you don't want those to have markers on them. But also we give you a lot of suggestions for storing, like putting them in poster frames and other things that will preserve the life of those posters so that you don't in the future ever write directly on them. Okay, so again, just comment materials list, we'll get that over to you. And then I want you to think about how do I need to prep those things for next year or know what I didn't have. So specifically like the place value poster in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, it is a really important math tool, an important visual. There's geometry posters, there's some shape posters that are actually pretty helpful. My issue with them is they're kind of small, like they don't show, they're really hard for kids to read from afar. So I would even take those and consider using a poster maker and making them just much larger or bigger versions of them if you could. But the place value poster, the multiplication poster that's very specific to math expressions in grade 3, there's a reason why it is the size that it is. There's a reason why it has the full equations in every box. You're going to want that. And then your 120 poster, of course, if you are in the younger grades. So you're going to just, if you didn't use them this year, you want to find out what units they're in and like, let's figure that out over the summer. So next year you just have everything you need. So that goes with the same idea for our math manipulatives. That the biggest reason that people don't use math manipulatives is they're not easily accessible. So not only are they not easily accessible, they're not easy to manage and to use. So you want to be thinking about how we could organize our math materials when you currently have like 20 helpers in your room. Help like, things, materials that got mixed up, like there's Unifix cubes and the shape sets and there's, like all the stuff that happens when we have small hands using those materials. You want to think about how can I clean those up now and get those either in individual bins for each type of material and or get them in individual baggies. So for example, in kindergarten, they use their purple number tiles. You need to make sure everyone has numbers 1 through 10. That's a great activity for kinders to do. You need to make sure everyone has 10 red counters, 10 blue counters in a bag. Like again, those are great activities for your current students to help you with. So it's not on your shoulders, but also because you have them ready. So you're thinking ahead to some of these units and you're thinking what key materials are they going to need that I can have this class start organizing us for Unit 1. 5th grade fraction tools. Okay, they need fraction strips in both 5th grade and 4th grade. It's great to get those strips cut, have, 10 paper strips in a baggie so that when you get to next year, you just hand everyone a baggie, they're ready to go, right? Those are the types of things that as kids are finishing projects and stuff at this end of the year, it's really helpful. The laminating and pre-cutting paper tools. Okay, so one of the things that's really unique about math expressions is if there was a math manipulative that is required, it's also a paper manipulative in their workbook. And that's unique. So that was because when Dr. Fusen did her Children's Math World project and she was doing all the research and whatnot, she really did not want the socioeconomic status of a school or funding to impact whether or not students had the visuals or the math materials that they needed. So to avoid that, she made sure that they put it in the workbook. So for like kindergarten, for example, you should have a set of math tools. You should have your purple tiles, you should have your red and blue tiles. Like there's specific tools, again, just comment material list, we'll get it to you so you know what they are. But then if you don't have them, they're in the workbook. So my suggestion is right now, have your little friends that have way better dexterity now. I mean, I'm not saying it's great, but it's way better than it is at the beginning of the year. Or you have some friends that are finishing early and whatnot. Even you have some fifth grade helpers that come down to get to you, or even if you're in the upper grades, you have things to cut out that it'd be nice if you had some of your more responsible students to start helping you with that. So I would, if you didn't use those pages this year, I would have those torn out from your current workbook before you send those workbook home, if you're going to, and have them get laminated and start getting those pre-cut so that when next year comes, you already have class sets made that are either sets that you send off with the special ed teacher as that she's helping you, or a push-in interventionist as they're helping, and you can like throw the same manipulatives at them, but like the paper version. Or someone's going on vacation and you need them to have a set that they take with them when they're going to Disney, right? Like all the reasons why you might give a kid a paper set. Maybe you have a physical set, but there's always reasons why you need backup sets. I would maybe consider prepping those, because for most of you, you didn't use them this year. You had no reason to. Now, the only thing that doesn't work here are the 3D shapes, but everything else, you have a paper version of it. So you just thumb through that workbook. You'll see the pages in there, even from like secret code cards, right? Decimal secret code cards in fifth grade and fourth grade, whole numbers and it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And then kindergarten, of course, your purple number tiles. So I would pull those out. If you're about to throw out supplies, okay, let's talk about that one. If you're throwing out supplies like, I always collected all their markers, we collected all their crayons. I mentioned this before, but I definitely collect those, but now we put them into counting collection bins. So I have students like collect everyone's old crayons and I have them, count out anywhere, any number between 20 and 40, and they put them in a bin and a sticky note inside the bin that says how many there are. That's now a new counting collection. Even the upper grades can do it with fractions. Like you have to count how many whole crayons you have when you only have a third of this one and a half of this one and a full of this one. Like it's an adding fraction counting collection. Or they put them in equal groups for third grade and they learn arrays and how to do repeated addition. Counting collections is so good for everyone. But anytime I teach teachers about counting collections, they kind of stress out because they don't have the collections ready. Now is the time, friends. You have all of these random materials. I don't even need you to color with the markers. They don't even have to be working markers. You just need something for kids to count. So the markers, even, separate from the lids or whatever, lids or no lids, they're just something now that you can count. It's a counting tool and they need to be grouped into baggies or into boxes. So now kids just grab one of those and they have a collection to count in some sort of a sophisticated way. Okay, you technically go all the way from numbers to 10, and then you do teen numbers, and then you do like 20 to 40 items from 20 to 40, then you do items from like 40 to 60, and you keep going in those intervals. And technically you can go all the way up to 1,000. Right? So you can then start jumping. And of course, you want to keep in intervals of 20 once you get past even like 100, 200. After that, you do intervals of like hundreds, right? So either way, supplies are really helpful for counting collections. You're also thinking at this time of year, what are teachers that are leaving behind that I can grab their things? Okay, retiring teachers, whatever, that you can put into counting collections. Again, it's a math activity for your kids at the end of the year, but it's also something that's prepping for next year. Garage sales. Okay, so you want to keep your eyes out for that because that's when you find things like someone's throwing out a whole bag for free of all their McDonald's toys. Okay, kids love to count that stuff. Plastic dinosaurs, Legos. Okay, they're just go into little bins that get sorted and they're now counted. And again, you have now another counting collection. So it's a really, really great math activity for early finishers, for small groups, like you name it, it's pretty awesome. I would collect then all your unused workbook pages and homework and remembering pages. So again, I would take, the most responsible of them or a parent that might want to help, but to get those torn out and sorted by unit and then filed like in a hanging file basket or something by lesson. You always are short. You get that new kid in the middle of the year. He doesn't have that workbook page. John has lost his third copy of the homework page. Sarah's going on vacation for 2 weeks and mom says, can you prep all of her work? Okay, I mean, we know, right? Like there's just things where we need, and if you already have unused pages because you didn't need them or you didn't use them, you had a student that left halfway during the year or whatever, now is the time I would think to get those pages prepped so that you have a system for handing out extras next year. Just a great way to recycle those pages. All right, moving on, a few things for easy summer to-dos. One is organize all of your cards now. Okay, so secret code cards. Secret code cards are the death of most people. So if I were to show you a set, let me pull one out. Okay, so here's like the blue ones. right? So when you have these, you need to make sure now that you have them all. So just getting these into a workable set, a completed set. I mean, I did mine, well, back in the era of like Game of Thrones, would sit and watch Game of Thrones while I collected and sorted and torn out. So like if you're a pilot teacher, if you are, and you're just now adopting, brand new teacher, like this is the type of stuff you're just now getting the expressions. These come in full sheets and they have to be torn apart and organized. Again, that's on that material list. If you ask for it, it'll tell you all those things. But this, even if you're not, if you're a veteran, these are a nightmare. Like if you gave them to kids, good luck finding them all. Like they're stuck in the back of the desks. Like it's a thing. Okay. So you want to have students start sorting them into full sets, like find all the numbers 1 to 10 and now 10 to 20, all your hundreds. They put them in a set and then they can mark them even with a sticky note that says this set's missing number 7 and 19. Okay, or 9, something like that. Because then as other kids find them as they clean out their desks, or you have the paper sets I already told you to prep, you can go get a paper copy and put it in that set, and it is now a complete set. It may not all be the actual physical laminated cardstock sets, but it is a complete number set, right? Then as you can see, as I was watching like television, you can tell that it's a little bit light. This one started to rub off a little bit. Oh, you can't even, my camera's not picking that up there. Maybe just a little bit. Okay, so it says at 15 in the bottom. So then some people put like triangle, circle, squares. They put shapes to mark each one. So everything in this set would be like a triangle. Or in my case, I did student numbers and this is number 15. And I made sure these all said number 15. They go in a bag with number 15. And now that set is ready. Again, why do people not use this? Because they're not ready and they don't have time to prep them. They don't have time to cut them out from their books. They don't know where their laminate card set is. Some of them like, I sent that home during COVID. No idea. Okay, this is the time to start thinking about that so that it's not an excuse next year. You actually have all your sets together and they're ready. The same thing goes for your math fact strategy cards. So if you're in grade 3, you have factor cards. They are sorted by color. Again, ask for the material list. It'll tell you what color to sort them and how to sort them. If you are in grades 4, you have product cards that need to be sorted by fact. Very specifically, I sort them like by 2s, by 3s, okay, so on and so forth. But again, by color, there's a product and the factors are different colors. And then I would sort my first grade, second grade classrooms. I would sort your strategy cards. You have purple make 10, you have green make 10, you have orange count on, you have yellow count on. You have all of the different strategy cards. You got to find them, get them back in the right sets, get them in an individual student sets. And again, they're in their workbook. So if you can't find them or you don't know what I'm talking about, okay, they did come in your math expressions kit. If you're brand new to math expressions, you're going to need some time to get those sets home and take them apart while you're watching whatever trashy TV you watch, okay? Or you need to cut the sets out from the workbooks and you need to start prepping them with your paper cutter because we all know we don't really have time for that during class, okay? So just an idea. I would prep those math, fact, and strategy cards. That's going to connect to an opportunity this summer on fact fluency. You're going to want those. Okay. Prep your unit bulletin board sets. So if you are using, like a lot of schools and districts, at least when I was teaching, we did a lot of focus walls. It was kind of a thing we had to do. And then I started realizing actually they could be really, really valuable for students if I got to use them for student use and not just for like an administrator walking through. So we have actually created a unit bulletin board sets for every unit that have your posted big ideas. They have success criteria. And more importantly, they have the vocabulary, some sentence frames. They have like a little like section for your student leader, like who's this week's student leader? Okay, there's just, it's a math expressions, basically focus wall. You decide which sections you want, but this would be a good time as you are grabbing stuff to go home and as you wrap up your school year, throw that in your summer bag that some of you may never get to, but just in case you do, you may want to have that stuff so that you can prep those bulletin boards by unit. And then I put the sets in baggies and have those, of course, in a file system so that every unit you just can pull that baggie out and you have all the things you need for that unit bulletin board. If you're in the squad, these are already there for you in the principal section. Just go to matching your squad, click every unit, click principals. There's a link to the bulletin board set. Okay, go print it all. If you're not in the squad, just go to my website, empowerlearngrow.com. In the upper toolbar, click shop. You'll see them all there. Okay, prep your focus materials. Okay, so this one, what I mean by that is you can't be great at everything, although you all try real hard. I want you to decide what is your focus for next year. What do you feel like just didn't master that this year? I did not have the bandwidth. I didn't have the help. I didn't have whatever it is, fill in the blank, a million reasons why. Okay. We couldn't juggle it all, but you're like, I really want to improve math vocabulary next year. My kids just really struggled with it. I couldn't focus on it this year. Okay. Fill in the blank. I really want to improve fact fluency. Okay. Just choose you, choose your thing. I want to improve small group. I want to improve, like, choose a topic in math class that you want to say, you're like, this is my anthem for next year. It's something I don't feel awesome about from this year. Or maybe it's something you did focus on this year and you want to become a master at it. I'm guessing you don't feel like a master. You did focus on this year and you want another year to really get it under your belt and feel like you've got it. Okay. But choose your focus, because in whatever you choose to do that I've already given you, organizing math materials, printing and prepping bulletin boards, pulling out workbook pages, you're keeping that focus at the forefront. So for example, you're thinking, I want to do more small group, like on my reteach days. Okay. If that's your goal, then everything you're prepping right now is so that it's easier for you to do small groups. You're like, I need to be able to have those paper manipulatives so kids have the same materials in the small group. Great idea. Then organize them by unit. You might be thinking, I want kids to have more rehearsal. And honestly, small group, and they come to state testing, it's like they didn't even remember we ever taught about fractions, 5th grade, right? Back in unit 1. So you're like, I need to do more spiral review. Well, if you kept the workbook pages or the remembering pages that were unused, you could rotate those in as a rehearsal and like a practice plaza type small group station over the course of the next year. Okay, so you're thinking, you have a focus and you're thinking, what materials could I start to prep or have ready now that my students can help me with, or that I could send home with myself to possibly prep over the summer. Okay, so choose that focus. And then of course I can help. So teachers, you're going to focus on building for each unit. Okay, everything I've said so far is really about this, a lot about this, the manipulatives. It's something I just not seen a lot of because it just feels unmanageable and it feels unprepared. So if you can start to make a plan for it now, this is the build, draw, write, talk, right? The C of the concrete representational and abstract, the CRA. Okay, the C is concrete, or it's also the student-friendly language for me is build. How will students build their understanding for this concept? How do they build it with Unifix cubes, with decimal secret code cards, with play money? Like, what do they need for that? Okay, so you're focusing on how can I start to make sure or collect the things I need so that students can build the concept for each unit. Visuals and language support. You're thinking to yourself, what visuals can I make sure are ready? Whether I'm cleaning up my posters or I'm using the material list to like find them, make them bigger, better, cleaning up anchor charts, printing all the vocabulary posters, sentence frames, the bulletin board sets, things that are just going to make it easier to pull them out next year. And then of course, then your focused materials. Whatever you've decided you need to focus on, what materials are going to help you to do that? And how can you start to organize? So that's really with the fact fluency cards, all of that. We're going to do a fluency workshop this summer, and all the material, you're going to need those materials. So I'd collect those and have them so you can start to build that fluency material. I don't know what you would say, all the fluency materials, your system for fluency as you end this year and prep for next year. All right, I'm going to say more about that in a minute. The next one is principles. Principles, your goal right now, okay, teachers are cleaning up their classrooms, they're organizing, they're trying to get all their ducks in a row, salvage materials as they can. Principles are different. You right now should be building a cohesive PD plan. You should be thinking, if teachers are all saying they really want to focus on language next year, then maybe that's what you should focus on as a school. And now you have a school focus plan, or maybe everyone's focused on RTI and that small group instruction. Maybe you're creating that PD plan, but you have to have a plan. Okay, failing to plan means you're planning to fail, right? And then your second thing you're working on is your master schedule, because all the things we all complained about need to have fixes. The interventionists couldn't see the kids half the time. They're pulling them out from math. They're pulling them out from ELA. We don't have any small group time. I don't know when I'm supposed to provide services. The PE teacher needs them during this time. We always have art on the second Monday. Like, name the issues, right? And we have to start creating a plan for it if you want to put your minutes where your goal is. So if it's your goal to improve something like small group, you got to put your minutes there, friends. And you can't put your minutes there if the master schedule doesn't allow for it. So if it's a priority, right, you're going to focus on it. Where you focus, your energy flows. So you want to have a master schedule. Both of those are in our leadership workshop. Bring your leadership team, register right now on my website. I will walk you through the entire thing and help you create your own PD plan. If you need me, great, I'll help you to execute it, but you can just do it yourself at your school building. I'm just going to give you the roadmap. to make sure you have a cohesive plan for the whole year. And I would give you lots of sample master schedules and help you through that. Okay, so teachers, you're going to focus on getting those materials, organizing, whatever. This summer, I'm just letting you know now, we're doing a summer series. So just comment below summer series, and especially if you know which one you want. And we're going to give you the link. You can register right now for these. Okay, so here's what we're doing. We're doing unit planning workshops for unit 1. So if you're thinking to yourself, I don't know how to use the materials, the manipulatives, I don't know what the success criteria is. Like when you said that for the bulletin board, what do you mean? Like whatever your focus is that you're wanting to improve, if it has at all to do with teaching the content better, you want to come to unit planning workshop. 2 hours for your unit 1 with teachers in your grade level, just with me, online Zoom, several options for the summer. Sign up for that, okay? The second summer series thing we're doing is our fluency workshop. So this is complimentary for Math Genius Squad members. Make sure you check your email. You have a discount code, okay? So and that's for a couple of these different ones. The fluency workshop, guys, I'm like ecstatic about this because you've been asking for it for such a long time. Math Expressions has a fact fluency system, but it is not obvious and I don't love it at all. Okay, so like the fluency, I just lost the name of them. With your quick quizzes, the fluency checks, that's what it's called, the fluency checks, not a huge fan. For some grade levels, I like them, and some of them I like in other grade levels. But as far as a comprehensive plan, that's not a plan. Okay, how do I use these cards? When do I assess different facts? Third grade, what happens after unit 2? Okay, there's so many things that are part of the fact fluency and I've enhanced it all. So I'm gonna run grade level fact fluency workshops this summer and I'm gonna teach you the entire plan for your grade level, unit 1 through the end of the year. What does it look like at every unit and how can you track mastery? How do students track mastery? How do teachers track mastery? How does the teacher do math games? Like the whole thing, everything. How do we use those little cards? When do we use those cards? I'm telling you, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to have full mastery of your math fact standards for the year. Math Genius Squad members, you get it at no cost. You just get to go register, but you have to save your spot. It is limited spots. You have to register for it. Okay. If you're not a Math Genius Squad member, just comment link either one. Just tell us you want the summer series link and we'll get it to you and you can go register now. Okay. Principals, sign up for that leadership planning workshop. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just comment leadership workshop. We'll send you the link. May 29th and June 12th, it's on my website. You can go get either one. You're going to bring your leadership with you and we are going to map out the best math plan you've ever seen because it's actually going to be data over drama and you're going to put your minutes where your goal is. I promise I'm going to help you with all of it. All right, friends, if you have other things that you need and you're thinking, hey, I want more information about this, or you want to know something else you do at the end of the year, would you comment and tell people, like, here's what I do with my math manipulatives. Here's what I do the last few days of school with kids. Like, here's how I prep my posters. I don't know. Okay, if you have pictures of how you organize that, people want to know. They want to start getting that stuff ready. And again, if you comment materials list, I will get you the materials list for every grade level so you can see my organization tips and then just all the things you're supposed to have. Otherwise, friends, happy Math Crush Monday. Cheers as you start to finish out your year. I know you have like 6 weeks left, so Godspeed, you can do it. Others of you only have like 1 or 2 weeks. So my friends, hang in there. Let me know what questions you have and how I can help, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.